Tonight in 30 Ways to Save, greening up your garden for spring on a budget. I caught up with our money expert, Christine Moriarty at the Agway in Middlebury for a few tips. Christine, you are taking me well outside of my comfort zone today with 30 Ways to Save. We're here at the Agway greenhouse in Middlebury. Why consider gardening?
Gardening is great for a couple of reasons. One is it's really healthy alternative. You're getting some exercise. It's healthy because of the food. We're talking about vegetable garden. And if you're in a community garden, it's social as well.
And there are a few different approaches. You could either be like the die-hard professional or do it for fun.
Do it for fun. So if you're doing gardening, just realize that's what you're doing for business. If it's also a hobby for fun, then it's part of your hobby, so you might spend a little more on it and realize it takes that time to do it.
Alrighty, so we have you here because you're our financial expert. What kind of finances are involved for someone who wants to get their hands dirty?
At first glance, you think, I just need seeds. I need seeds, fertilizer, and dirt, and I'm good to go. However, you want to think about what else are the costs involved. For example, I needed purple gardening gloves, you need a watering can, you need a hose in certain places. So think of the other expenses involved as well as what you need on the basics.
What about where can we learn from?
So one of the things I like local places like Agway is that you can ask people advice. Like, what's the best thing to grow? What's the easiest thing to grow? Because you want to start small and you want to be able to get the right advice from people instead of trying to spend a lot of money and not know what you're getting into. So I would suggest you start small. And from experience, I could grow tomatoes. Other than that, flowers, and leave it at that. I'm not the vegetable gardener, but if you start small, there are things even I can do, so I bet you could too.
I'll give it a try. So you say use the money you have. Is that simply staying with a budget? What does that mean?
That means staying within a plan of money you have. A lot of people go, oh, I'm going to garden and I'm here, and they get carried away like me. There's these beautiful purple watering cans, and there's this great $100 hose that's light, and these great colorful things. I get excited about it, but it's like, wait a minute. You're spending that money saying I'm going to save it on the vegetables, but you don't have the vegetables yet. So start small instead of spending money putting it on your credit card for vegetables that might grow.
All right, and what about kind of some of the financial roadblocks people might get into? I'll come in here, be really ambitious, want to get everything under the sun. Are there common mistakes people might make?
Common mistakes is starting too big and not knowing what they're getting into. From what I know from experience and reading is that tomatoes are easy to grow, lettuce is easy to grow, herbs are easy to grow, zucchini, our Vermont vegetable, is easy to grow. So stick to those things first. And small.
Alrighty, and what about these 3 W's you're talking about?
Well, when I was talking to my husband about this, he's like, tell people, remember, it's work. And it is work because you have to weed on a regular basis, so you have to know what a weed is. You have to water.
Not this.
Right. You have to water, and then you have to look out for wildlife. And that's everything from the deer to the pests, the beetles and the bugs and the deer, and you need to know about that. So 3 W's, there's work involved.
And you sometimes have to get the professionals involved if you're dealing with critters, and is that an added expense?
That's an added expense if your garden was that big, but that's why I'm suggesting start small so you know how to deal with the little critters. By the time it gets to be a bigger issue, you'll be able to do it yourself. And also, you might need a professional or some extra machinery if you need to till a garden and do those kind of things.
So you make this pretty simple point, but I thought it was important. Know why you're gardening.
Right, because if you're gardening as a hobby and it's fun, you're spending a little extra money on it. If you're gardening just for the vegetables, well, then you've got to be focused on keeping a little money. If you're thinking it's a good idea because everyone's doing it and you don't have time, you might be better off in a CSA.
Alrighty, go to the store and pick out a nice plant or two.
Exactly.
Alrighty, well, happy gardening season to you. Good luck out there. I might have to start with a potted plant, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay,
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, Christine. So clearly I needed as much help as possible there. If you have your own tips in the garden and want to share them, or if you have a question for Christine, you can let us know right on the Channel 3 Facebook page. Well.